I'm really excited about our guest today, which is one of the things I want. He's a closing attorney in South Carolina, North Carolina, does a lot of Subto seller finance transactions, creative transactions, very well connected, a great friend to our whole community, just a really all around great person. He's a giver. He constantly is educating and helping people all over the country. Take a minute in the side chat and please welcome Harry Marsh in the side chat. How you doing, brother?
Good. I'm good. Busy. The market is doing well.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens when you have a great reputation as a closing attorney. Other closing attorneys that are maybe doing refinances or other things in your guys' estate probably might be struggling right now, yet you're thriving. Why do you think that is?
The investors always need something to buy, and subject twos are always a wonderful deal, regardless of how the market is going, especially the last 10 years or so of wonderful interest rates, making those properties even more valuable. Finding something with a 2 or 3% interest rate right now is amazing for their cash flow. So yeah, we're in a good position having done a lot of the investor volume in the area compared to a lot of other attorneys, like you're saying, that are letting staff go because of the interest rates. So we've been lucky.
Well, lucky is one way to put it, but another way to put it is that you've been working your guts out for your whole entire professional career. You've had a great reputation. I run into people in North Carolina, South Carolina on real estate deals. And when we say we're going to use Harry Marsh, they go, oh, great. And they're actually genuinely excited about using you. And that speaks volumes about you and your operation and what you're all about. So what happens, guys, in business? Hard work pays off. Now, Harry, you've been a closing attorney how long?
About 9 years.
Okay, so 9 years. So this didn't just happen overnight. The opportunities that you're making money on today did not just spring up in the last 6 months. They probably were put in from relationships and hard work you were putting in maybe even 5-10 years before you became a closing attorney, I would imagine.
Definitely. And all the networking you've done over those 9 years grows and builds into something that's, obviously churning things out and giving you a good load of, in our situation, properties to close. In your situation, it may be properties to buy.
Right. Love it. The group of people that we're talking to today, I call them the Gator tribe. And there's multiple business strategies that they use to go out and make money. One of them is wholesalers. For example, I have a wholesaler that comes to me and he goes, hey, Pace, I don't know why, but this title company won't let me open escrow without earnest money. I go, how much is your earnest money? They go, it's $3,000. I go, well, if I was the title company and you don't have earnest money, I also wouldn't let you open up escrow, because if I get audited or I get somebody come along, or maybe even a seller calls or an agent calls and says, hey, did the earnest money get deposited? And you haven't done it, title company looks responsible. So I told this wholesaler, I said, hey, why don't you just let me come in as a JV on your deal. I'll cover the $3,000. And for that $3,000 earnest money deposit I make, I get a portion of your assignment fee when the deal closes. And so therefore, the majority of the strategy that people use in here is A, lending or JVing on earnest money to get a portion of people's assignment fees. 2, as regulation comes out for wholesale, Arizona now requires you to state and tell the seller, not, hey, I may wholesale this. You are legally required in the state of Arizona to tell a seller you intend and that you are planning to wholesale their property. It is required to put in your purchase contract. The title company is now required to tell the seller this is a wholesale transaction. Are you aware of this? So as those types of things start coming into our market, Arizona, Illinois, you can only wholesale once a year without a license. We are starting to see a rise of double closes happening all over the country because wholesalers are saying, I don't want to show my profit. Also, there's a lot of times where hedge funds will say, I want to buy a deal from you, Mr. Wholesaler, but I can't buy it on an assignment because of shareholders or regulation or whatever else. And so wholesalers have gotten to a point of double closing when they sell to hedge funds as well. So what I want to talk about today is double closing. And we've talked about this also in a title state, but now I want to ask you in a closing attorney state, what does the process, let's start a single base hit. What is double closing?
Double closing is literally what you would think that it would be if you have an A to B and a B to C closing. That's usually what we label them. But a double closing is nothing more than A to B being where you buy the property. You own the property for 5 minutes and you sell the property in a B to C transaction a few minutes later. Sometimes with a hedge fund, we're even seeing a C to D triple closing where it sold 5 minutes after that. So the procedure is the same for both closings. We go through all the different requirements, transfer fees, taxes, all that stuff must be prorated between the different closings. Most of the time, your fees are going to be doubled. You might be able to save on a couple different fees. We rarely pay an HOA transfer fee or anything like that twice. There's no reason to do that. We can let that flow through between two different closings. But yeah, a double closing is exactly what you'd think it would be, of two different closings back to back, rather than the typical assignment closing where you're trying to sell your contract in one manner or another. You're letting someone take over your obligations on the A to B contract and do a single closing, buying the property and paying you an assignment fee. The double closing is where you're actually going to be the legal owner for a few moments before you sell it to the next guy.
So technically, as a wholesaler, I don't have to tell a homeowner, these little white lies that I tell them, which is I'm a cash buyer and I'm buying this house myself, which is what a lot of wholesalers do, which is incorrect. They're not a cash buyer and they are not buying the property themselves. So in a double close, essentially you are becoming the owner and you can now say you are a cash buyer. Is that correct?
Exactly. And you're right on all the increasing litigation and regulation that our governments are going to be pushing on us in any state. In North Carolina, we got it about 2 years ago, where they require that we now give full information on both sides of a transaction. Basically, if a seller wants to know if it's a double closing or assignment, we have to tell them, and we have to give them all the documents. And that's just the first shot across the bow here. I'm sure we're probably going to have a licensure system or something in the future. But yeah, the first thing, the reason I'm telling you this story is they're after wholesalers, they're after investors. The real estate association is going to be putting pressure on people to do things in their mind properly. In my mind, they're just trying to protect their own business as realtors, which is a huge lobbying power. I've been involved probably 20 times in complaints against wholesalers, investors, or let's say illegally brokering a property or doing things that they shouldn't do. Realtors get upset sometimes when you're making more money in an easier fashion than them without a license. The first question that happens from our government or the real estate association or attorney general or anyone that's after someone for a complaint, which sometimes they're required to follow up and investigate that complaint, whether there's merit to it or not. That first question from the government is, has this person, this investor or wholesaler, ever bought a house before? If you can show that you are an active buyer of houses, they basically ignore the complaint, or they give you great, power as that investor rather than a wholesaler. I think they might be looking for someone that purely assigns or wholesales properties, maybe to make an example out of them. But the huge, great value to that double closing situation is that you are an owner. You can actually show the government, here are all the 10 houses that I bought. Here's the 10 closings that I did. And there's not much that they can say about that.
Love it. And so in this situation, what we do, we have this amazing relationship where we have a lender that has about $300 million. And he came to me about a year ago and he said, I want you to be able to white label my lending so that you can go out and pick up double closings and pick up some fees and pick up some whatever, and you can be basically my JV on the double closes. So he charges 2 points and then he kicks a point back to the person who referred the business. That way, as double closings continue to rise, then our Gator tribe have the opportunity to go to wholesalers and go, hey, I can double close for you. So for example, let's say that I call my lending business, even though I'm not the person with the actual money, the person with the money, we've set up a legal white label on lending. It took about a year to figure out the securities attached to it, but we figured it all out. Securities attorneys got involved. It was all fun. I can go to wholesalers now and say, hey, wholesaler in Arizona or North Carolina or Illinois, specifically Nebraska now. Also, you can't assign in Nebraska without a real estate license. I go to those wholesalers and say, hey, if you ever are wholesaling a deal, I can double close for you. Same day, 24-hour money, 2 points is all it costs. So if you have a $200,000 deal, I'm going to charge you $4,000. So me as the person that takes that file, submits it to the portal to our lender. The lender then funds the money. They bring in $4,000 and I get kicked back $2,000 of that in that double close transaction. We call this Gator 2.0. I know Harry hasn't been involved in all this stuff, so I'm trying to catch him up to speed. In a double close transaction, do you know if there's any difference in the way it's handled in a closing attorney state versus a title state? Now, in my opinion, A title policy is one of the most important things that you can ever pay money for. We bought a Subto deal from a wholesaler here locally, and I said, no problem, let's use my title company. The wholesaler says, well, I've already opened up escrow at this other title company. I'm like, okay, no problem. So they give us a title report, everything's clean. We go and close the transaction. And yesterday we find out that the seller has $7 million in IRS liens on the property. I'm like, first off, how do you have $7 million in IRS liens?